So we got the beach, and if you told me the synopsis of this, or if like I don't know, if I was like a director or a producer or something like that, and somebody came out to me and said, "Okay, here's the synopsis of this episode," I say, "Are you fucking nuts? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard." But it is surprisingly pretty effective. It's an episode where our villains go to a beach house and they go to a beach party and they sit around, sort of have a breakfast club type discussion near the end around the fire, and it's basically them just being teenagers, and it's needed. It's really needed, and it's very nice to see, and it's nice to see them still stay in character, but also interact with other kids their age, not knowing who they are. And I like how Azula is fascinated that they don't know who they are, and she probably more than anything just wants to see what she can get out of it, or who she can have more power over by doing this, or who she can torment more and feel better by doing it by. And that stuff's always fun. But even then, we get a little bit of her humanity in there, and how she's obviously sort of once in a while dipping into her real feelings, but not much. And it worked bizarrely kind of well. At times I'm like, this is like, an Annette Funicello movie or something. It's like a beach movie, but they really address what it means to be this age and with your family, and to have jealousy, to have anger, to have confusion. They captured it well. And one of the problems I have with the Breakfast Club, even though I do like it technically, is that I felt it really captured the emotions and the feelings and the dilemmas and the confusion, all that stuff of being a teenager. But the one thing they didn't catch is that they don't talk about it. They don't discuss it with other teenagers. So I always thought that was kind of a problem with the movie. But here, these four are so strange already, and they have been shielded from so much of the rest of the world that you can buy it. You can see them talking about it. And at times, it's a touch rushed, but it still comes out well. You still get the idea of what they're talking about and the emotions and stuff, and some of it is kind of obvious too, like Zuko not knowing who he's angry at. You just wait for him to say, myself, and of course he eventually says it. But I liked learning about Ty Lee, I liked learning about May, I liked, even, like I said, with Azula, just seeing that little bit of humanity that shined through just for a moment. And even then, she wants to be a sibling, she wants to be a friend at times, and it's almost like she's trying to figure out the human animal, what it means to be human. And the last thing I'll say before I sign off here is, it's something I don't usually talk about, but the sound design and the sound direction on this was really good. And I'm thinking specifically when the guy with the eye on his head, I don't know his name, but he can make stuff explode with it. He comes out, and this thing shoots from his head, and they do that wonderful trick where they have this loud sound and then like a half second of silence before the big explosion. And that's surprisingly very effective. And on top of that, the sound of it coming out, it's not like a giant zoom or anything really loud. It's these very quiet little snaps, almost sort of like small fireworks. And it's really effective. You just hear it coming, and you sort of, I don't know what it is, but you just sort of, you shift a little bit because you kind of feel like it's almost whizzing by you. It reminded me a lot of the opening of Saving Private Ryan. Again, great sound design on that. When you don't hear the bang, bang, bang from the guns, you hear the whooshing by of the bullets, and you just hear them hitting things. You hear the pings hitting off the metal, and that's enough. It feels like it's closer when you can hear something, just the slightest thing close to your ears, because sort of like when you hear a bug buzzing, you go, ah, like that. Even though it's not something big and massive, it's really close. And something about that illusion really helps, that those small sounds can actually somehow seem closer and more threatening. And I thought that was a very, very clever choice in the sound design of that. So, again, good sound design, editing, directing, all that stuff. And yeah, just an episode I would not think would have worked, but was surprisingly pretty decent. And I love seeing the characters interact. You got some of my favorite characters here, the villains. Again, I love the villains in this show, and I just love seeing them interact. I love seeing them be family and friends, and you get the feeling how they acted when they were family and friends when they were younger, but also how much time has changed. I love it when Zuko went to the old house, he looked at the picture, and he realizes how different times have, how those were different times, and he misses it, but he can't live in it, and he burns the picture in the fire, and it's a good moments, and these seem like very strong, real sort of teenage archetypes too that you see quite often, and they give them reasons why they are that way. So, surprisingly strong episode, and worked out really, really nicely. So, yeah, that's about it. See you in the next one.